Good morning, India, and welcome to Ganashort and P Guru's early morning podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the Iran USA talks, how they've been strained, and all that. And joining me in is Mr. Sree Iyer. Sree Iyer Garu, good morning. Namaskaram. Ela unnaru?
I am doing well, Andy. Chala Andy. I hope everything is good, well with you and your family and viewers. Good morning, India.
Yeah. So, look, a lot of things have happened yesterday. A lot of action has taken place. Your first impressions, and before we get along, and
So I think we started out with one title and we have kind of tweaked it a little bit because of the developments over the last few hours. Viewers, if you're watching this in P Guru's, still having the old title, we'll take care of it in a little bit. But basically, what is happening now is there are some factions in IRGC who don't want these talks to proceed. And this is typical. There is always some dissonance, and some people are not listening, some people are listening, some want going in one way and the others want it in a different way. For example, it is believed that this 14-point MOU was actually voted in the Supreme Council. And there was one guy who was holding out. And that guy has his own spokesperson. They start making a lot of noise. You get the picture, right? But at the same time, 𝗥𝗙𝗙𝗿𝗏 is there, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗙𝗏 is there, and JD Vance is there. And they are claiming that they have been talking through the night. I'm sure the details are with General Shankar, and we're going to take a look at what's going to happen. I have a feeling that there is an ascendancy of the political structure of Iran, because there is also this, there is a Iranian army that's now slowly starting to make itself felt. That's not IRGC. There's a parallel structure that the Supreme Council evolved. We know that. We've talked about it. So a lot of interesting things happening in Iran. Over to you, sir.
yeah, we're not. Look, before we get into Iran and all that, I have my own doubts about what's happening in Iran, right? Notwithstanding what you have mentioned, but we'll first focus on the talks itself. Look at this cartoon, okay? This is all about the nuclear talks. You see this, how it is. Irrespective of who's talking, whether it's in Iran or in USA, there are people opposed to what the talks have taken place, and there are critics of the talk. Okay, you look at this where whoever this thing is, he's being accused, and here also the same story. So the same thing is there all over. Only thing is, this cartoon is of 2014. So from 2014 to now, nothing has changed. Okay, so irrespective of how the talks go, you'll see that there is criticism in USA. There will be criticism in Iran. So whatever we talk, everything, we have to now zoom out of their individual things, individual biases, and talk at it at a probably at a very different level. And that's what I'll aim to do. And we'll talk of the talks only, and we'll see how it goes. First and foremost, look at this chap. This is the first day of the talk. Look at the look on Chabahar Sharif's face. Look at it. This is a clip which is probably going viral. Look at the tension on his face. Look at the worry on his face. Look at that idiotic look on his face. It's apparent. Look, what did the first day of talks cover? They largely covered only about the frozen assets and the oil sanctions relief. But did they come to any conclusion? Zero. There was no conclusion of anything which happened in the talks. Nothing, except this one line that the first day of talks covered sanction relief and oil relief. The body language of everyone who was involved in the talks was poor. And I say poor, right? The Iranians couldn't care less. They had their own game plan. They came with a game plan. The Pakistanis, you can see their face. The Qataris were on a different track, and the Americans were on a different track. Okay, so if you see this whole thing, nothing much was achieved on day one. What did day one? After 40 minutes, the Iranians walked out. That's what happened. End of story. Why did they walk out? They walked out because Trump gave some threats. Why did Trump give some threats? He gave some threats because Pezeshkian gave some threats. or things like this. There are so many things. But let's see each position without getting involved with whether they are right or wrong. That is irrelevant to us. Okay. Now, let me at the outset say none of the core issues were touched. I'm getting to the fundamentals of this whole story. Nuclear program, not touched. Ballistic missiles, not touched. Proxies, touched, but in a negative manner. Regime change, no talk at all. I mean, that's far away. Strait of Hormuz, again touched in a negative way. So the first day of talks, and mind you, these talks are important because this is the first time Iran and USA have spoken across a table since a long time, probably over a decade or two. Right after the assigning the JCPOA, there was no talk between the two of them. In fact, depending on where you're reading and where your political orientation is, where your geopolitical orientation is, you might say this talk is a disaster. Or you might say, well, it's okay, some talk has started. The most positive thing I'll say is the talks have started. So they'll have to finish one way or the other. And both the countries, Iran and USA, are in no position to win this whole story. Let me be absolutely clear. There's no winners here. And then no losers here. This we have analyzed before and I've spoken. There are no losers or winners in this war. What is the takeaway at the end of the day? And both will deem themselves to be the winner and both will say the other is the loser. But we'll see that. We'll see because it affects all of us. So we'll go through that. Okay. And then, right. Now, look at this, what has come out, what Trump said. Because we'll go through a set of statements issued out by Trump and you'll get a flavor as to what is Trump driving at and what is the American position. Because whatever he says is what the American position is. Okay.
President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight.
Oh, sorry.
And said, you close it.
It's not in the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Now let me restart this whole thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country.
So this is a very strong statement Mr. Trump has made. He said, if you don't close the deal now, you will not have a country. And you will not have a country to go back to. So the question which comes to mind is, how does he do it? Okay, if the only way he can carry out this threat is through a nuclear attack. Only way. Is he giving a nuclear threat to Iran? Then the whole story is at a different level. Okay. Now it's not that. He's followed it up. He says, the only thing I love more than negotiating with Iran is bombing the shit out of Iran. Our negotiations are going beautifully. But if they don't go much better immediately, I will annihilate the Iranian regime from the face of the earth. Your favorite president's bombs are much bigger than Iran's highly enriched Tardig. I ain't playing sons. So this is as explicit a nuclear threat as it can be. Share your views.
What is Tardig, sir? What is Tardig?
I don't know. You'll have to ask. You'll have to ask Trump. I don't know what.
Maybe it is uranium. Maybe it is uranium in Farsi. Maybe.
Whatever.
See, Trump tries to play with your head. And this is something that we know. Even in the free trade talks with India, they tried various methods here, there, everywhere. And this is all detailed in his book, The Art of the Deal. And everybody, of course, reads it. So people can read him pretty easily. What's going to happen is in Iran's hand. But I have a feeling that Iran will have no other option but to go with some of the main things that US might insist on. For example, the settlements for their crude. The United States may insist on everything being done in petrodollars because they would want to avoid what happened during the sanctions phase with China. And Iran will probably resist. They'll say, no, it's not possible, and so on and so forth. I'm just giving one example of how things could play out. So this is their long discussion. 60 days, they'll agree that we'll have to talk a little bit more. I think we have to wait. At the same time, those countries who are trying to find out, who have worked their way around the Gulf is a supply, are going to be doing much better after 3 months. Scorched food.
Okay. Right. So,
Thank you.
This is it. So, right. This is what he said. There's a threat. The way I look at it, it's almost an explicit or an implicit nuclear threat, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. But then, does Trump have the courage of conviction and the personality to go through with it? I doubt. Then he went and said, Iran must immediately stop their highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they don't, we'll hit Iran very hard again, just like we did last week, only harder. Fine. So he's still the threat business is coming out. Then he's responded to critics at home. He says the headline in a corrupt and falling New York Times, and failing New York Times. What changed after 4 months of war? That's the question. If you go to New York Times, is the headline. Analysts don't say much. Really, the military is done, their navy is gone, their air force is gone, their launching pads, missiles, drones, and manufacturing of the same is almost gone. Their 2 top sets of leaders are gone. Their inflation is at 250%. Their economy is broken. Their soldiers aren't being paid. The Hormuz Strait is open. The oil is gushing, and the US stock market and jobs are at a record highs. That's what's changed. You are corrupt and unethical and all that. Well, that be that as it may. Very clearly, he is defending himself and saying, something else. But like I said earlier, the core issues have not changed. Iran still has the enriched uranium. Where it has, how much it has is a question mark. Whether it has it at all in a place where it can be, reached is a question mark. We don't know what state it is. Its proxies have revived. Hezbollah has revived. And we'll talk of it a little down the line. That's the second part of the story. And the regime is intact. It's a new regime which is harder. Probably the hardliners are more. Well, we might see fractures in this regime, but is that enough to break the regime down? I have my doubts. There might be a few things, and I'll talk of this a little later. Just wait, others say. Right? And the missile capacity is there. They have the ability to hit. So, you see that America is caught in a 50-50 kind of a case. The bottom half is right. Their economy is broken. Its economy is broken beyond repair for a long time to come. Right? And the Hormuz Strait is open. Notwithstanding everything else, the Hormuz Strait remains open. And Iran also is pushing oil out because they need money. So this is where it is. Now let's look at what Pezeshkian has said. You see, while this is one part of the story, look, more than the deal yesterday, more than the chaps who dealt for 40 minutes in Geneva yesterday, the signals are coming from outside. So let's see what Iran says.
It's also reacting to that. Take a listen.
We will not give up our right to enrichment, and they too will be forced to accept it. You all know what the so-called president of the United States was saying.
So he very clearly said, I will not give up my enriched uranium. They will be forced to accept it. And he's also taken a pot shot at Mr. Asim. He's a so-called president of United States. So this is going head-to-head, toe-to-toe. Okay?
He had made a complete 100-degree turn. He was saying that Iran must surrender unconditionally. Iran has no right to do this. It has no right to do that.
President Trump, during our call, responded directly to those comments by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. President Trump told Fox News he better watch his mouth, he better shape up, or we'll take over the rest of the country. And so clearly the president reacting directly to these comments from Iran's President Masoud.
So you see, Mr. Trump reacting to everything. I mean, Well, I don't know why he's doing it, because whether he's got confidence in his team or not, or he wants to take over the thing by remote and by his statements and impress upon the opposing side that he can do a hell of a lot. Oh, the way I look at it, if he can do all this, he shouldn't have gone into this war. He should have sorted it out much before. So the cards which USA holds in this whole story are as many cards which Iran holds. And they are very clear. I mean, one, USA must open their eyes and smell the coffee and realize that that guy has got all his cards intact. He's what is internal in Iran is a different story. Whatever this thing, or you engineer, you have the patience to engineer a downfall, regime downfall in Iran that we have not been able to do for 6 months, right? So this is where you see the both the sides are at this point of time.
It's also
And then this is what Lindsey Graham had to say. And again, this is part of optics, part of strategic communication, whatever it is, just listen to him.
Let's try a diplomatic solution. I think it's going to fail. What happens?
So he is very clearly said, let's try a diplomatic solution, and I think it's going to fail. So he's starting with the premise this is going to fail, and then what I'm going to do after that.
Next, I spent 4.5 hours with President Trump Friday. Here's what I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation. And we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026. We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we'll obliterate them. So to all the people listening, if this diplomatic effort fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. We're going to run it. We're going to try to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords in the Arab-Israeli conflict in 2026. And if Iran continues to attack Israel and Lebanon, the new policy will be we'll hit Iran. So to the Iranians, if you're listening, when you use Hezbollah to attack Israel, I think the new policy will be we will attack Iran.
So there are a lot of things which are said. He says we're going to take over. If this deal fails, we're going to take over the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to obliterate Iran. If you touch Israel, and there's a message to Saudi Arabia and everything. Well, again, he's reinforcing whatever Mr. Trump has said. There's a core message, and there's a message which comes out as a threat. How does USA have the legs to do it or not is a different story. But this is a threat, and what do you make out of it, Sree Iyer?
Sir, I think US really needs to ramp down this war, and they also need to ramp down Ukraine-Russia conflict. I think this is all bluster. At the same time, Iran also knows it, and Iran wants to stretch it out as far possible as they can, up to maybe like midterm. Just say we keep talking, and I think US is okay with that. Just keep talking, and some skirmishes here and there, that might still be okay. That's where I think US wants it parked. They are planning also that Iran is going to stretch it out. What they don't want is loss of lives. Like, for example, boots on the ground and they're losing. I don't think that's the strategy, but talking tough doesn't mean acting tough, in my opinion, sir.
Yeah, so talking tough doesn't mean acting tough. But the problem is, have they talked tough on the, while the talking tough is outside, what's happening in Geneva? And you find different optics coming out of Geneva. Okay, if the opening moves are any indication, well, let the picture speak, and you'll yourself form the opinion. And this is Mr. Vance and his great statement which he's made, equating his wife with Asim Munir. Must share it.
Is Field Marshal in Pakistan, Asim Munir.
So we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it on the screen, sir.
Field Marshal
Oh
Munir.
yeah,
It's not
sorry.
visible on the screen.
Yeah. I'm my mistake. I didn't put it on. Okay, sorry.
His Field Marshal in Pakistan, Asim Munir. I will say that since Field Marshal Munir welcomed us with the Prime Minister in Islamabad, I have joked that I have two very, very important people in my life, an Indian and a Pakistani. The Indian is my wife, and the Pakistani is Field Marshal Munir. And I've probably talked to Field Marshal Munir more than I've talked to anybody else over the last 3 months. Would not be here without his statesmanship. He is a military leader, but I think he's shown himself to be a great diplomat. And of course, who's an amazing.
So this is very funny for a vice president to go there and make such a statement. I will, your view. Go ahead.
General Shankar, this is American speak to just keep somebody in good humor, but I have a feeling they're going to let them down really hard. They have no use for Pakistan once this thing happens.
His Field Marshal in Pakistan.
I wouldn't put too much into that and saying that this guy is equating India with Pakistan. It's a turn of phrase rather than anything else to kind of give some feeling that we are keeping everybody in the balance. It's okay, let them say that. I mean, he's not saying that I prefer Asim Munir over my wife. Then there is a problem for him more than anybody else. So I think, sir, over to you.
Like this, the way I look at it, for a vice president who's gone there as the head of a negotiating team, going to go through a very tough negotiation with Iran, which has already had experience, to make a statement as flippant as this, or rather as halkat as this, it doesn't behave well for the whole negotiation, right? I mean, if this is the American way of putting things at ease and all, I think it's not. I've dealt with the Americans. I've dealt with the Americans across the table. Right? I don't think everyone is like that. And you're talking of a vice president who should know the history of Pakistan, and a president who should also know the history of US-Pakistan relations. If USA is in this position today that they have to contend with a nuclearizing Iran, it is thanks to Pakistan. And they're using the same guy and talking high of him just to put him at ease. So I think, this is where these days, I mean, I wouldn't know whether it's these days or earlier or whatever, the way US is going about doing things is, well, that's the US way. All the best to them. That's all I can say. Right? I don't think this is going to take them very far. And they're going to come to grief sooner or later. Because if there's one thing I can tell you, what Pakistan will do is to undercut these negotiations, right, with USA. Okay. Then, of course, the next thing which happened, which is significant, is Qatar ignored USA completely. And this is, of course, everyone has seen it, and have a look at it. Here you see the Qatar guy who's the representative come. He ignores Vance completely. He meets Chabahar Port and Asim Munir, and he doesn't even look, and they don't even acknowledge each other. Vance has said hello to him, and that fellow has completely seen through him. So now USA has to think what's its diplomacy with Qatar is. And, just go back, think back. Qatar is supposed to be their greatest friends there. Qatar gave one aeroplane to Trump, which is converted into Air Force One. And you see the body language there between USA and Qatar, the way it is. Right. Doesn't end there.
For the billions that US has at its disposal, why do you have to go and take a plane from Qatar? Huh? Really? You can't build your own Air Force One? What's the need to go and get it from Qatar? I mean, these guys are arrogant X dollar, HOLE dollar. That's what Qatar is. We know that. Why is United States embarrassing itself? It is an embarrassment for United States. This particular thing is an embarrassment for United States, especially for JD Vance, who's the presumptive president of United States next. Of course, he might lord it over them once he becomes president. that's 2-3 years down the road, not right now. Back to you,
But
sir.
that is also if that's a if, right? Right now, I don't know whether.
Yeah, it's still there are lots of
Okay, and then
hurdles to pass.
you see the way Iran walked out. Whatever the deal was, whenever they had a little break or anything, you see the foreign minister of Iran coming. He had this thing with Chabahar, and they just walked off. Oh, again, I'm not shown it. Sorry. Today there's something wrong with the way I'm going about doing things. I'll just show. Sorry again. So he just walks off. He doesn't even look that side. Nothing. You just see the way he is. He's not. Then Trump, Vance is looking around. Hey, wait, what's happened? Then he is being informed that fellow has walked off. He's just walked off. The Iranian team just walked off. And Asim, Munir and 𝗙𝗏𝗏 are looking at it like idiots at each other. They don't know how to deal with the situation. Okay? And then they'll start.
Is this the Iranian representative, the tall guy now, explaining it?
I don't know. We don't know. Maybe he just said, I'm going. And Vance, look at his face. He's perplexed as to what's happening. Okay? It's only then he comes up and asks, look at Chabahar face. So people, all those fellows are walking off. And that's it. I think after this, he's come to say what's happened. And both these chaps are trying to give him some kind of an explanation that they are gone. And so that's the end of the story. Okay.
General Shankar, I want to stop at this point. I'm going to ask you a philosophical question. Okay, let's get back to 27th of February. You've already thought you have taken out the nukes. You are still seeing that Iran is violating the sanctions by using shadow fleet to get oil across to China. Right? If you want to put pressure on Iran, why should they not have blockaded at that point of time, saying, okay, you are not going to use your shadow fleet anymore, and selectively catch all the shadow fleets, and they'll have to prove that they are valid and legit before you let them go. What I'm trying to say is control the Strait of Hormuz, and then you start upping the ante and going after them militarily. Why was this thing done in the reverse? Somewhere something, I mean, sir, would you not have considered that first? Because I think you mentioned this in the past also.
Look, the first thing I would have done is got hold of the Strait of Hormuz in some manner, installed it. I would have, first thing, with the first bombing, I would have taken over those 2-3 little islands in the middle of Strait of Hormuz. No campaign of this kind will succeed without boots. And
Correct.
Trump is averse to boots on ground. So, as far as military planning is concerned, look, I don't blame I have no issue with the American forces. Within the constraints of what was given to them, with the deal given to them by Mr. Trump, they played their hand well. Bombing, all that. Rescue of that pilot who was down, all that. If you remember, throughout those 2 months when the war was on fighting, every day I used to say, those 2-3 islands, get boots on ground there, get hold of them, even if you have to suffer hell, get hold of them. Okay, you have to get hold of, only then you get control of the Strait of Hormuz, which they never did. Why they didn't do is something which I don't know. If they had done that, you see, 2-3 things would have happened. The focus would have been on those islands, and you start controlling it. And then, even it is not, it's a positive control with boots on ground. And then you say, now you come, now you try. That would have been a different story altogether. Then you would have forced Iran to react. You would have had their, all their shapes, whatever it is, you had a better reach, everything. Just 20 kilometers, but it gives you hold. Well, they didn't do it. Well, it's their good luck. It's their planning.
See, there is precedence to what I'm saying, viewers. In 1971 war against Pakistan, right? Pakistan was killing people, genociding people in East Pakistan. Okay, but the moment they attacked India, almost the first thing India did was to blockade Karachi port. In fact, India suffered a loss. I think one ship was lost, but it was so effective. And then they set the main storage tanks of petrol that Karachi had on fire. You think that India was soft? 1971 war, go back and read that thing. I wish somebody would do a story like Durandar on the 1971 war. It was something else. People have to understand how well India prepared for that. Sir, back to you, sir.
Yeah. So, okay, then what else? The issues which are, on the table with this war. These talks have gone very badly for US. Let's face the fact. You should know how to face the fact when it happens. I think US went overconfident again. They thought that they'll be able to push through the whole thing. A lot of thinking of positive outcomes. No. They have to go back, see to their drawing board and redo their whole thing. But having said that, what's next? Lebanon. Lebanon is becoming a focal point, right? Lebanon, people want Israel to get off Lebanon, and they're not interested. The Hezbollah is not interested in moving anywhere. They're continuing to fire at Israel. Israel is continuing. There's a battle going on there, and Hezbollah has complete support of Iran. So at one level, Iran says, look, unless that front is cleared, we will not talk. And Trump has also said, look, you should stop Hezbollah. If Hezbollah does anything, we'll hammer them. So, and this is a diversionary tactic being used by Iran. So the main issue is not being discussed. What is being discussed is, sanctions in Lebanon and all that. So they've diverted the whole story somewhere else. So will USA be able to handle that the way it is supposed to be handled is to be seen. And in the process, they've tied this peace deal. Remember, this is a very smart move by Iran. They've tied the peace deal between Iran and USA to a peace deal between Lebanon and Israel. In so doing so, they would have collared Israel and given themselves that proxy would have got life back. And then their influence, Iranian influence over the region is still intact because Houthis are still there. They can be fed money. When Iran gets money, you can feed money back. Hezbollah, if you can save Hezbollah today, your power is still there. And in between, the Iraq Shia militias will be there. The Iranian ploy is very clear what they're up to. They first want to secure their power base, their proxy powers, and then they're going to talk of anything else. So how USA is going to handle this in going ahead will be interesting. I mean, I have no thing, but I'm going to tell you this. Just tell this. And then, of course, the relationship between USA and Israel, that has come under some strain. There's no doubt. And this is what Netanyahu said. I'm just going to talk of it. He says, in the United States, they say that President Trump does everything I ask him to do. And Israel, they say, I do everything which he wants me to do. Same thing, that first thing, where I said, that cartoon, same kind of a situation. So each opposition is accusing their prime minister or president, saying that you're listening to the other guy too much. Right? Well, neither is true. We are leaders of independent and proud countries. We stand for our interests. I stand for the interests of Israel and for its security. Often we see eye to eye, sometimes we don't, but we respect each other's sovereignty and leadership and commitment to our people. So the important thing here coming out is that the US-Israel partnership will endure, whether someone likes it or not. It's going to endure. Okay, it's not going to break. US will never let go of Israel because Israel at the end of the day is a nuclear power. For all you know, we have not seen this maverick card being played. What if Israel now tells Iran, you try and if you don't come, I will now hammer you. If I were in, US place, I would tell Israel, let go.
Yeah. I said
Let
this
go.
is actually this. Iran is also making a mistake, in my opinion, sir, in that they are essentially making Israel stand more and more correct. Because see, Trump expended his political capital to call up Netanyahu and said, don't hit Lebanon. And what did they do? They went, because what Israel was doing was to going after that fortified headquarters of Hezbollah in Lebanon. If you look at the tunnels they have dug, sophisticated, very, very sophisticated, and under mountains. And so that's what they wanted out. Maybe that's one of the key holds of Hezbollah that Iran wanted to prevent. So he expends his own political capital to Israel and tell them to restrain them not doing it. And these guys start acting up. Then he'll say, okay, fine, you go and do what you have to do. You're not in talks. Then, and if Iran complains and says we will walk out, they'll say, well, I didn't do anything. We are not doing anything to you. We would like to walk. You don't want to do it? Fine. Because what happens is when these strikes really go home, there are only 3 or 4 spots, I can tell you. And this is going to put the people of Iran in a lot of pain. You take out their power supply and water distribution network, there will be some choke points. There definitely will be choke points. Iran is not a country that has a lot of water. Its electricity also has to be, hydro is more of this, and there's only one nuclear power plant, and that can be disabled because many of the Russian engineers who are managing it have already left the country. My point in saying all this is you shut off power and water, and people will be on the streets because there's nothing else. But do you want to take that ultimate step? And if that were to be taken, would Israel be the one stepping up to the plate saying, let me do this thing and let's see what happens? I think Iran also needs to understand this. I hope some of you thick heads, you can listen and some of this penetrates through your turbans. I'm sorry to be so direct to all these the guys who are doing the listening. Why I'm saying all this is your people are suffering a lot thanks to your intransigent stance. Sir,
Well,
back to you.
Yeah, be that as it may, but this is where the state of play is at the end of the first day of talks. Okay, does it end here? No, it doesn't end here at all. You must hear Bill Maher. So you might not agree with his, political ideology or the way he talks and all that. But, I found this clip and I found it very interesting and humorous. Just watch it for the humor which he puts into the whole story. Okay?
I know why you're happy. We have an Iran deal, finally, a deal with Iran. And I love this deal. We got everything we wanted except for everything we asked for. It's actually a very simple deal. They're going to stop enriching uranium, and Trump is going to stop enriching his family. We didn't even get that. We didn't get that. We didn't get anything. I just hope we play Iran in the World Cup so we can beat them at something.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a deal.
What?
It's a memorandum of understanding. It's about as legally binding as the sign in the break room that says, please clean.
Sree Iyer, just continue. There's someone at the door. I'll come.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, General Shankar. So you can see here that Iran is basically thinking that it's playing with US. See, US is also doing something very clever, in my opinion. The deal is only between United States and Iran. It's Iran insisting that Israel not attack Lebanon. US is not telling Israel, hold off. Only one time they did because they wanted these talks to start. See, as much as we all say that Trump has a losing hand and all that, think about what he's doing overall. What he's trying to do is to re-establish the petrodollar. This is not so obvious until you start looking at the big pieces, big picture, by looking at the little pieces together. Venezuela is in the back. Cuba is going to go the same way. If these two are firmly in the camp of Trump, and also now yesterday, Colombia veered right. They have voted for a far-right candidate who has been supported by Trump. So big news. Colombia is also becoming more Republican-like. So things are happening in South America also. I don't think US went and meddled in their elections. I don't think so. But be that as it may, you are seeing, because the other side also is meddling left, right, and center. You are seeing, what is this cockroach Janata Party trying to do something in India? What is all that about? And membership of millions from Pakistan and Bangladesh. The party is based in India. Started by a guy who's a student in Boston in United States. I mean, the farce just goes on and on. So let me get back to the thing. General Shankar was in the middle of making an important point. Back to you, sir.
Yeah. So the point is, you see what Bill Maher had to say, and how things are. Things are not very promising at this point of time. But having said that, today is only the opening day. Everyone is trying to throw in the new punch, his own punch, and we'll see how the whole story goes ahead. Interesting days, but I think USA has to redraw its own strategy.
Yeah.
It has to pull up its own socks. I don't know how this will play out for Trump or Vance or whatever it is. We don't know. The good thing, of course, is the only good thing is the Iranians have not left town as yet. Last when I heard. We'll see how this further goes. Okay. But there's something interesting else which has happened, which I thought I will put it across to all of you. Yesterday, China did a live firing exercise with the DF-17 hypersonic missile. Okay. And they didn't target anything. It was a live firing exercise. But the commentary which is coming out of that is they want to get hold of this first island chain and things like that. And they also talk, they spoke of the DF-21, which is supposed to be the Guam killer and all that. So suddenly, why has, China come up with this story? Why has China done this? Right? Is it against Japan? Is it against USA? Is it against this thing? Or is it to support Iran in some manner? Is it a signal? It is something which, we need to think of very seriously. And we'll see where it is. But this is a signal, right? Who is this signal going to? USA straight away, without doubt. And how USA behaves and reacts is something which we will, watch. And yet another thing, something happened. And again, this is probably not connected, but at some point of time, somewhere it is also connected. Ukraine launched an attack on Russia. This is Kharkiv. This is the Ukraine-Russia border. They attacked Chelyabinsk. Chelyabinsk is 1,800 kilometers away from Kharkiv. And they attacked this place. Now, here there are a couple of villages which have no names on the map. And those villages are those places which have Russian nuclear capability or Russian nuclear facilities. So Ukraine has attacked them for the first time. Now that it says by itself hell of a lot of penetration, all that, intelligence, capability. So you see these two events which have happened unconnected. Will they get connected into this whole talks or not? Is something which I will, we'll watch out. I'm not going to say this is it, but we'll watch out for it. Because I'm not sure whether they're connected or not. right? But it tells us as Indians quite a bit. Okay, it tells me as to how things are going. It tells me a couple of things that look, let them keep doing everything. You are in the center of the whole story, and everything action is around you. Nothing is coming near you. That's one. The second thing which I wanted to touch on is this. There's a lot of commentary in India which says, look, India is on the wrong side of the alignment in the Middle East. My question is, are we on the wrong side of the alignment of the Middle East, or are we multi-aligned with everyone? Right? People say, look, India has aligned itself with Israel and what shall I say, US,
UAE.
and not aligned with anyone else and things like that. I don't think so. There are a lot of articles coming out and a lot of commentary about this, that we are in the wrong war with the wrong thing, and you see how Pakistan has done whatever it is and all that nonsense. So your view on this, then I'll give my view.
Yeah, some feedback coming that, please stop downplaying JD Vance's statement. Let me just put it up, because I have no problem with handling these kinds of things. Bringing up wife's name, praise or praise someone, that too in these circumstances, is just unacceptable. There is a cultural mismatch between how we think we in India look at things and how Americans look at these things. Just 3 days ago, JD Vance was telling Pakistan is a piece of shit. Didn't you then rejoice? So what I'm trying to say is, either of these things don't have a lot of merit. At the end of the day, what you're going to do on the ground is what counts. Do you think that even if Iran signs to everything that US wants it to do, that it's going to give up its family silver, enriched uranium? It's not going to give it. This is not going to go. It's a big make-believe farce, because US would want to continue to sell arms and armaments in that area. You just want to token say that we've got Iran under control, then go back to doing what you've been doing again. And United States Army is not at its best now. In fact, it might be at its worst, because nobody wants to join the army anymore. That they used to have these campaigns, be all you can be, join the army. Nobody wants to join now. The Chinese have really messed with the youth. Gen Z or they woke, they don't want war. They want nothing, and they have a sense of entitlement. We should get this, we should get that. All rights, but no responsibilities. So we have a problem that way in America. So my point in saying all this is all like a big dance and song. And finally, again, it is something that US and China are positioning each other, and we don't know where that's going to lead to. Like, for example, what General Shankar put, first island chain, second island. This is something that China is obsessed with. For example, make one statement. If the Indian government makes one statement about Dalai Lama, don't you see the Chinese getting their knickers in a twist? They are also emotional, just like us. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's okay. These are all rhetoric. It's at best and at worst, it's just rhetoric. Doesn't mean a damn thing. Back to you, sir.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. One shouldn't get worried about it. What I'd like to mention is this. India is playing a very smart hand. I'm reiterated. Why? The linchpin of this smart hand is the deal you're done with UAE. Right? That's going to, because with UAE is going to come Israel, UAE, India, and that IMEC will go through. And I have no doubt about it. Bahrain will come with you, Kuwait will come with you. This is given, OPEC. Now, don't think UAE has not done its deal with,
Is someone at the States desk door, sir? Is someone at the door?
No. UAE is also done its deal with Iran. Okay? And they are also handling Iran the way they should handle. So I think things are going in the okay direction for India. And our equation with Iran is also in good nick with each other. And after all, the Iranian ambassador in India has said that, look, Iran, you know, thanks India, and India stood by it. So these things are in place. So don't get carried away by people who are now going to come out with some columns against our stand or critical of our stand. Okay, we have not dealt badly with Iran. We have not dealt badly with UAE. We have not dealt badly with Saudi. I think the converse is true. We've handled and kept USA at a distance, and we are handling Pakistan well. There are other issues about Pakistan which I will analyze tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow day after, I'm still working on it. So this is where things are. Oh, sorry, sorry.
Thank you.
I
I let myself out. I can let myself out, but I can't let myself in because I need to take something else. Back to you.
No, sorry. So let's not get too worried or too critical about ourselves. We are in a good nick, like I said. Our oil pressures ease, because if sanctions are out from Iran, you get Chabahar back, you get your oil flow easy, your gas, everything. So let's be very clear and calm about it. And whatever analysis we do is, at least I do, is not for USA, not for Iran. It is for India. That's the way I've always said so. And that's my position. Right. This is where it is. Should we take a few questions if you...
Yeah, sir, if you could excuse me, I have another show.
Yeah, go ahead. You bless.
Yeah. And I'll join you again in the evening, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Right. Let's take some questions. Yeah, ask if US has not learned it in Pakistan's interest to keep conflict going and has forgotten how Pakistan sabotaged the Afghanistan campaign, then US is doomed. US always finds the wrong company somehow. I agree with you. Well, I've agreed on this issue right from day one. Okay. Relying on Pakistan is something which Trump has done. That all the best to him. But having said that, there is a history to this. And that history and everything is linked with Asim Munir. And I'll do that analysis tomorrow. Till then, wait. Sorry to digress. In yesterday's DJI, Chittiala sir's number shows Indo-US is just transactional. A word from US government, it's all solid air, no solid. I agree with you. At this point of time, US is the least, or rather, we can't rely on US, as simple as that. There is no way I would rely on US today. Okay. In the confusion, people have seemed to have forgotten Imran Khan. Your views, please. Well, Imran Khan issue for some reason will not come up. And that reason I'll explain to you tomorrow. You have to understand why it will not come up. Prawal, please come tomorrow, and in the morning or in the evening, I'll do it whenever I get a little time. I have to do I have decided, not decided, I'm doing a little bit of research on Asim Munir. What's his future trajectory? And to understand his future trajectory, you should know what his real trajectory is. What has he done? Many of us are misreading this fellow. Okay? Everyone has misread this fellow. So I've done a little research on what he has done, what steps he has taken to become the constitutional dictator that he is, and what's his future plan. So come tomorrow, I'll explain to you where Imran Khan stands. This is insane to be issuing nuclear threats in 2026. Well, but that's how it is. And he's doing it. Ashok, there's just this thing. Russian advisors have said this. There are about 48 critical targets in the US that need to be taken out for that country to go back to the Stone Age. Well, these things are spoken. It's not so easy. It's not that 48 targets you take out in the US, it will go back to Stone Age. The same thing, Russia can also be counted. How many targets are there? And actually, those targets are being taken out by Ukraine. Okay, so let's not let's not get into this, numbers game. Okay. The word 𝗥𝗙𝗘𝗏 means bottom of the pit. Okay. Short-term transactionalist Trump trying to act like a grand strategy like Franklin Roosevelt. Yeah, that's the problem with Mr. Trump and USA. Look, he's a businessman. He wants to see results. The businessman wants to see results. He wants to count profit at the end of the day. Whereas a government guy or a strategist looks at the long term. He has the ability to look long term. I don't think Trump is in that category at all. And he's completely out of depth on this. I have no doubt in my mind. He might be what he is, but as far as being a strategist, is far away from that. His strategy is instant profit. Yeah. Memorandum of misunderstanding is not gonna work. It's no more a memorandum of understanding, it's a memorandum of misunderstanding. Okay. Any discussion involving Pakistan as a third country is nothing short of a circus. If I have sound oxymoronish, it's a serious amusement. No, it's not. You're right. That's why I put it out. How people make mistakes again and again and again. Right? I mean, I'm amazed at US how it falls for Pakistan's duplicity. It would have been better if they had gone on their own and dealt with Iran 1-to-1. Very interesting thing. Every democracy is losing to Islamists for how many years? Flag bearer of freedom, liberty will accept reality. Well, I go with you. We have to have a method of neutralizing these Islamists. Okay? That's how I look at it. And we'll see where this whole story goes. Yeah, Indian made self jet engine. Yeah, everyday report thodi na milega. Let them do something. Let them fly it. Let them do some major tests. Only then we'll know. Right? Everything so far about the Indian jet engine and the aircraft manufacturing is all on paper. And I think all those fellows have let India down. I'm very clear about it. Yeah, after threatening Israel, US is doing course correction after seeing anger in Israel against US. US is fast losing its friends. I don't know what they're up to. Yeah. Why should an army person be in political negotiations? Didn't see any other military personnel in the dialogue except for Pakistan. He's not a Fauji, please understand. He is a field marshal, but he's not an army man. He's a politician. That's what I'm going to try and explain to you tomorrow. Join in. He is more of a politician than a military man. Okay. Let me see if there's any other question which you chaps have. Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy a podcast, all that fine. Multiple languages truly inspiring. Yeah, I know about 5-6 languages which I can speak. I can speak in Hindi, of course. I can speak in Telugu. I can speak in Tamil. I can speak in English. And if push comes to shove, I can speak. I'll find my way in Punjabi also. But that's how it is, right? And that's what the army teaches you, right? That's where we'll close for today. Thanks to all of you, whether you're on P-Gurus or on Ganashot, to have joined in. Do contribute, or I won't say contribute, do subscribe to each other's channels and join us back tomorrow morning. In any case, today evening also we're going to do the Ghana site. We'll see what we're going to talk and all that. Have a great day, and Jai Hind to all of you.